So there were winners and losers on OU's Pro Day. And I think that we can start by talking about the winners after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. This is a sports talk show. Now, we can start by talking about the winners at OU Pro Day, many of whom are really just the guys that showed up to the site. Now, I think that OU is the winner here because the University of Oklahoma succeeded in getting 30 teams represented, 55 representatives from 30 NFL teams on site in Everest Training Center to see a can't-miss first-round draft pick in CeeDee Lamb go up and elevate, a fringe first-rounder in Kenneth Murray Jr. just stand there because he pulled his hamstring at the NFL Scouting Combine, a fringe NFL first-rounder in Neville Gallimore, who was a late bloomer, but whose 40 time was magnificent at 4.79, or 4.79 for him, 4.75 for Khalil Davis, which is flying for a 300-pound human being. But also just to watch him go through drills and see how quick his hands were. Also succeeded in getting all 30 teams and 55 representatives to see a walk-on from Allen, Texas, and wide receiver Lee Morris, a cornerback that is good enough to be mentioned as an NFL Scouting Combine snub in Parnell Motley, a oft-injured wide receiver who has a tremendous heart in Nick Basquin, just keeps showing up to play, and Khalil Houghton and Marcellus Sutton, who are two guys that are just trying to get back into the league a year removed from the University of Oklahoma, and of course a at least mock drafted fourth-round quarterback in Jalen Hurts, tossed about 62 footballs all around the field, and I think that's magnificent. I think that's very cool because this is not the year that it was when Baker Mayfield was heading to the NFL draft. Certainly not the year that it was when Kyler Murray was thinking about going through the process of going through the NFL draft. And at that time, we still weren't necessarily sure that Kyler Murray was just going to play football because Major League Baseball was amending the rules for the Oakland Athletics to be able to sign Kyler Murray to their 40-man roster right away, which is unprecedented and remains unprecedented, and I still think that's very cool. As far as the 40 times go, I know everybody's very excited about it. Nobody dropped below 4.5, but Nick Basquin ran 4.50. Parnell Motley ran 4.50. RJ Proctor showed out a good time for his size. The same thing could be said about a number of players that were out there. I get that if you're Neville Gallimore, why run it? You know, we mentioned that Kenneth Murray Jr. has the hammy. Jalen Hurts, you don't need to run it either. The only person that I thought needed to run it and run it well was Parnell Motley. And throwing down 4.5 in the 40 makes him faster than Xavier McKinney, who is projected to be a first-round draft pick at defensive back. Xavier McKinney also plays like 3 different positions, but also makes him faster than A.J. Green, who was all Big 12 second team, who went through his pro day at Oklahoma State. Apparently ran faster in hand times, like at 4.4. I doubt that he runs laser 4.4 because the last time he ran laser was at the Scouting Combine. He ran 4.6. The times for Oklahoma at their pro day were all laser times. I understand it's a huge undertaking every year for Oklahoma and for guys like Mike Houck to put on this thing, and they really do a good job with it. But you also succeeded in getting ESPN to come through, Ryan Leaf to show up, Kyler Murray to show up, Orlando Brown to show up, Marquise Hollywood Brown to show up, Bobby Evans to show up. You were able to get some star power out there around these guys for which people really wanted to see. And then guys like general manager Mike Mayock, who's had his eye on CeeDee Lamb all season. Like I saw him at Bedlam, and that was really cool to see him once again. I'm sure he gave some interviews, probably talked a bit about Josh Jacobs from my hometown. I got his autograph signed jersey in my house. Very excited about that. But the losers in this OU Pro Day got to be all of us who, one, did not get to go see it live and would have loved to see it live, and we got live updates, and I get all of that. But the losers are also folks that, well, are stuck wherever they're stuck because the spread of COVID-19, the coronavirus, is really dominating the news cycle, especially in sports, because sports is having to take the lead on a lot of these things because there's such close contact with people in the stands. There's such close contact with folks on the field, on the playing surfaces. The way that this virus gets spread is through, individual contact, viral droplets like sweat, right? Spit. We're telling everybody, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. And I can't tell you enough to wash your hands. And the reason that this is a big deal is not because it is just like bubonic plague or Ebola. No, it has a lot in common with the flu. The problem is there's no vaccine for the coronavirus. There's no vaccine for COVID-19. There's a vaccine for the flu, for influenza. There was even a vaccine the last time the WHO made a global pandemic, or certified a disease a global pandemic, when it was H1N1. We saw countries buy en masse this vaccine that they had surpluses of and never became a thing. With this disease, that's the problem. You don't necessarily have a real function for it or functioning vaccine for it. And that's what's scary, right? Because people that have respiratory illnesses are going to be affected. If you don't have a respiratory illness and you contract the disease, you probably won't die, right? We even as we continue to say that, I feel confident that most of us won't, but you could spread it to someone that could be directly affected. And we know that already this is affecting the sports landscape in an unprecedented way. The NBA has indefinitely suspended its season. We know that spring football has been called off for Ohio State and Michigan. Michigan has its spring game on April 18th, which is the same day that Oklahoma has its spring game. And I'm waiting to see whether or not they're going to cancel the spring game. I think that they should. I think that there's no reason to get that many people together that really could spread this disease, but we'll see how this functions over the next couple of weeks, which is probably what they want to do. But take the lead on this and have the moral high ground of saying, no, we took care of ourselves and our fans first, rather than reach for some money, because that's all this looks like right now, is a money grab. The NCAA announced on Wednesday that it planned to play its opening round games in empty arenas rather than just suspend the whole thing. Again, short-term revenue. I get that the NCAA, as a 501c3 nonprofit, gets about $827 million, so close to $1 billion for just the television part of this deal. Close to more than $1 billion when we're talking about all of the money that is made from the March Madness tournament over 3 weeks that's supposed to start next week. As I am doing this segment, we still have games that are supposed to go on in various conference tournaments like the American, the Atlantic 10, and of course the Big 12. The SEC has somehow been ridiculous and saying that they're going to just have their tournament with fans in the stands, and we're going, come on, guys. The reason that this is a problem is because folks did not get out in front of it and just decide right away, no, we're going to try to flatten this curve and we're going to do our part. Italy started with 62 cases, and then 18 days later it had 12,000. And now they're up to a reported mortality rate of 6%. That's a very high number in a population of just over 60 million people. We all are really suffering from a sports side of this, but I don't really care about the big money side of it. I care about the folks that make money on the side from March Madness, that work in concessions, that clean the arenas, that have pop-up shops where they expected large swaths of people. Atlanta was supposed to get so much money economically from this tournament, and now I can't see how you're going to have a NCAA tournament with an empty arena, especially going all the way through to April, where you're going to have the Final Four in a football stadium, which feels odd, but postponing it is on the table. I just think that that's not really a thing that you can do. I think you could try and reschedule it, but kids graduate, kids have other things they need to be doing. The seasons need to continue to go on. We're starting talking about whether or not the Olympics are going to happen in July. So if we did not act the way that we're acting now and really go a stretch farther, I could see this stretching toward football season, which I know nobody wants to see happen. Everybody would love to watch college football and professional football come August. Now, it's March, and we got a long way to go, but we need to be talking about it. And we need to be doing right now what we can to limit the spread of this disease, especially until we get a working vaccine, so that we can have those things down the road. Like I said, winners, all of the kids that got to participate in Pro Day, the folks that put on OU Pro Day, and the losers, all of us, because the next couple of weeks, the next couple of months are going to be really difficult, but I'll be here, you'll be here, and we'll continue to talk through it.